Ow! Greetings, YouTube. This is DecKrash, better known as Brandon. Alright, I usually don't do a lot of reviews on anime because there are so many others on YouTube and on the internet that are so much better at making really good anime reviews, much more entertaining than mine. But I wanted to do this because I am really into this anime and I wanted to share it with everybody. Alright, so this particular anime is called Suisei no Gargantia. It's also called in English Gargantia on the Virtuous Planet. Now, it's just recently come out. It's only in the sixth episode. So I wanted to just describe it to you and give you some information on where you can find some fairly good reviews of it. I'm just giving a general overview of the anime. And now the description of the basic plot, I'm once again reading off of Wikipedia. They just gave it a pretty good description. In the distant future, mankind has taken to the stars and formed the Galactic Alliance of Mankind. The alliance is currently engaged in a genocidal war with a plant-like alien species called the Hideos. 16-year-old Ensign Leto is a soldier for the Galactic Alliance piloting a machine Caliber, an AI-automated humanoid-shaped battlesuit which he refers to as Chamber. After a failed attempt by the Alliance forces to destroy the enemy's superweapon, Leto is knocked into a wormhole and loses consciousness. When he awakens, he learns from Chamber that he has been in cryostasis for 6 months while his wounds were healing. Leto learns that he and Chamber have been found by a ragtag band of primitive human scavengers. Escaping, Leto quickly discovers that he is on board a massive floating ship on an ocean-covered planet. Chamber tells him that the local star charts reveal the planet is Earth, the birthplace of humanity, a place members of the Alliance only knew of in stories and believed was a myth. What first caught my attention in the story was something that a friend of mine on Facebook had posted, and I followed the link to the main Facebook page, and it had this most beautiful spread of the artwork from this series. From there on, I went on YouTube and saw a preview trailer for the series. It featured this absolutely beyond enormous ship composed of many ships with buildings piled up on top, almost like man-made mountains, with plants growing on the roofs and even areas of pasture land in the middle. It was like an entire city floating on the water. And amidst the floating city, you see all the different people and the two main characters. Leto, the pilot, a young boy about 16 years old with silver hair, and this girl who is from the fleet, which is called the Gargantia. A young girl, about 15 years old, dressed in the traditional clothes, I guess, of these people, and with a tiny little cute squirrel creature on her shoulder. Now, from that point on, I looked more and more into the series, and I found it was something that I thought I'd really like, despite the fact that it is a mecha anime. Now, I actually don't mind mecha anime. That's not my forte. But I do like some stories. It has to be something that about that mecha anime that is really going to pull me. I'm not just a fan of mecha anime. I'm not just a fan of romance anime, of harem anime, of comedy anime. It has to be some sort of pull. For me, the pull was the setting, the world building, which I've already told you if you read any of my book reviews, I'm a big fan of. And Gargantia delivers on world building bit by bit, very, very well. So it starts out in the future, in the distant future. The humankind is spread among the stars, but is at war with these creatures, and well, on Wikipedia, they call them plant-like creatures. They actually look more like giant space squids, and they're called the Hideos, or the Hideous. I've seen it translated both ways. And the human race uses giant robots to fight the creatures out in space. And during one particular battle in which the human empire is losing, Leto, one of the pilots of his machine Caliber, the giant robots, gets sucked down into a malfunctioning wormhole and awakens 6 months later on Earth, recovered by salvage teams that were sent from the Gargantia. And so thus begins his interesting life on Earth, which was abandoned long ago because the planet had at one point had frozen over due to some strange happenings involving the Earth's sun. Now it seems that the climate has reverted back to a semblance of normalcy, but now because everything is melted, the entire planet's surface seems to be covered with water. So you're having a series that is one part Gundam, after a fashion, and another part Waterworld, but Waterworld actually done right. So you have the entire world covered with water. The human survivors survive on floating ships, and and live their lives on these ships that are just kind of connected to each other by various types of scaffolding and cranes that keep them all floating together. And they've built lives for themselves on board each ship, homes and pasture lands for cattle and everything that they need for life to go on as normal. They even used robots of their own called Yunboros, although they're nowhere near as sophisticated as Chamber. Chamber is uber technological. So anyway, now the story is basically for Leto a fish out of water story. Leto born and raised in a completely military environment, and you learn this as the series progresses. How different things are for his life and how he must learn to adjust to living among people who have a much more laid back and non-militaristic way of life, and he has to become a functioning member of their society, but their society also grows to, realizes the advantage they have with him because he has technology that is so much more advanced than anything that they have. And the story is also one part his growing relationship with Amy, which at this particular point of the series is starting to show little sprouts of, I guess, a romantic kind. Um, Character-wise, you have a wide range of really interesting people. I mean, aside from Leto and Amy, Amy is a delivery girl, basically, on the Gargantia. She has to hand deliver packages and letters and such. Basically, a mail girl. You also have Bridget, who is a high-ranking officer in the Gargantia. Bellows, who is the leader. He's a guy who's leader of the excavation team. He tends to be a bit vain, but a real, kind of jock-ish big brother type. Let me see. Babel, who is this young boy who is relatively sickly, but is Amy's younger brother. You have Feroc, who is the aging commander of the Gargantia fleet. He's the captain and looks every bit the wizened and hardened older captain. And then you have Amy's two friends, Saya and Melty, two other delivery girls. I personally kind of have a thing for Saya. She is quite adorable, but she just doesn't have that much of a part, which is a shame. I wish they would give her a bit more. And several others. Oh, and the little squirrel creature that Amy has is Grace. And I find that, just to add to the adorable, the characters have very appealing artwork. Each one has very distinctive personalities, and thus far a lot has been going on in each episode of the series, which has been thus far focusing, as I've said, on Leto's growth as a person, getting used to being in Gargantia's society, becoming used to a civilization where he has an opportunity to be human. More and more you see, based on what he says, is that the society that he grew up in is just completely military. If any of you have seen the movie Soldier with Kurt Russell, his personality is a little bit like the character Kurt Russell played. Completely born and bred military, knows absolutely nothing else, thinks of everything in completely military terminology. Born into the military. There's even some hints that he's actually just a clone, and one in a long line of clones that the human race seems to have been pumping out just to fight the Hideos. But that's another story for another time. So he is having to learn to not only adjust to this new civilization, but also to be human. And it's a wonderful thing that you see bit by bit. One of the cooler parts is the fact that because these people in this galactic society have been away from Earth so long, there's been a dramatic lingual shift. So when Leto finds himself on Earth, he's actually at first unable to speak the language, but Chamber, the AI, has vast repositories of knowledge, so he's able to figure out what the people are saying and is able to give a translation database in real time to Leto, who at first has to read what everyone's saying as Chamber translates it into his language, but slowly, through every episode, Leto is learning how to speak their language. That's all I have to say, but it's a great series, and I think that you all should go and check it out. It's available right now on Crunchyroll. It's being simulcast on Crunchyroll. It's only available in a sub right now, but personally, I think that an English voice cast for this series would not do it justice. You have to have some incredibly good talent. I'm talking about El Hazard levels of talent. For those of you who've seen El Hazard, you know what I'm talking about. The English dub on that series is incredibly good. Some consider it even superior to the original Japanese. But what I'm talking about is Gargantia. And as I said, it's a really excellent portrayal of world building. They have a vast history behind everything, and the people on board the Gargantia have a very distinctive culture, which has played itself out in multiple ways, episode by episode. And the art style is eye-bleedingly gorgeous. We are talking top-notch levels. I haven't seen artwork in a series this crisp and beautiful in an anime series, this crisp and beautiful, since perhaps watching Macross Frontier. If any of you have ever seen Macross Frontier, that series is heartbreakingly beautiful to watch. Same goes for Gargantia. So if you're an otaku out there, I sincerely hope that this review has interested you in the series, and I really would like for others to go and check out this series and see what I'm really fond of. And it's actually quite a popular series on Crunchyroll. It's still one of the newest ones they've come out with. It's only been out for 6 weeks, a little over a month, and so it's not a whole lot of catching up. Crunchyroll does have a subscription base. You don't have to have a subscription, but if you don't get to see the most recent episode until the week that the next episode comes out. But for Crunchyroll, it's a little over $6 a month to just get the anime, and so you're not really paying a whole lot. And that's up to you. But you can still watch it, like I said, even if you don't have a subscription. I'm not going to be doing descriptions of every episode. I'm already got my hands full with the Defiance series and my book reviews and my other religious stuff and anything else that comes to mind. But I am going to direct you to one of my friends who does do a lot of anime reviews, and he calls himself Sexy Blues. He does audio-based reviews on various anime that he likes. He's been faithfully doing reviews on every episode of Gargantia that's been coming out, and they're very good, very in-depth reviews, and I think you're going to enjoy them. I think he does a great job with the stuff that he does, even though it's just voice like me. But he's very passionate about his reviews and does a great job. So I'm gonna leave a link down in the doobly-doo. Go and subscribe to him, please. I give him my highest recommendation. And so until next time, everyone. Oh, and by the way, if you've watched the series, hey, give me your thoughts on it down below in the comment section. As always, as I said, keep it civil. So that's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. And until next time, this is DecKrash, better known as Brandon. And stay lucky and stay blessed. Take care.